An exhibition of robot chefs in Japan, technology for tracking through walls, augmented reality glasses, and chip implantation without cracking the skull. All of the most interesting technology news of the week in today's one episode. In Japan, there was an exhibition of food processing equipment and technology FUMA, and of course, there were robots. We consolidated for you a compilation of the most interesting solutions. For example, the robot Denso Kobata Wave, developed by the HE Institute of Technology, prepared a traditional dessert for visitors, the finest pancakes with stuffing. Working with plastic objects such as fabrics or thin dough, for robots this task can be very difficult. Too many things can go wrong, but at the exhibition, the bot definitely could handle it all. The only question that remains is whether the robot was run by itself or the operator behind the scenes. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. The cutter robot has also proven its ability to handle plastic products. He can skillfully grab and remove the core from lettuce bundles, trying not to damage the delicate leaves. Another Denso Wave robot selected and collected mushrooms. It's worth noting that mushroom farms constantly need employees, but to perform such tedious and painstaking work, robots fit as well as possible. And of course, at the expo, there was always more fast food solutions. Robots can already easily cope with fries and wings, but the way that this humanoid robot measures the right amount of noodles, it's amazing. The traditional compressor company Miyakawa introduced its robot cook, who wielded a knife, but so far with imaginary products and in an isolated box. The robotic cooking inspired by the University of Leeds students to experiment on whether two robotic robots would be able to make a burger. But the interesting thing is not just that, but the control system of the two robots with manipulators for one person. The operator used the gamepad to control the walking robots and the wearable motion capture system to control the manipulation of the robot hands. In other news, a device has been created to monitor people through walls. It was developed and presented by the Israeli company Cameo Tech. The Xavier 1000 gadget is able to track objects and people through walls in real time using sensors and machine learning algorithms. Namely, the device sees the presence, the number, and remoteness of people behind walls, whether they are armed, what position they're in, and where they took it. The Xavier 1000 consists of a tripod, folding panels, and a 10-inch touchscreen. The device takes only a few seconds to form an image with the exact placement of objects and people behind the wall to continue to track their movement. Chinese scientists have developed a safe neural transplant technology and have been able to implant an electronic chip into the brain of a goat without opening its skull. In the course of the study, a stent was injected into the veins of the animal and moved through the blood vessels to the motor cortex. The chip itself was delivered through the stent to the right place. When the sensor took the right position, it connected to the electrodes to the wall of the blood vessels and began recording strong and clear electrical signals from the goat's brain. The procedure was carried out with a high-precision robot. The collected data was transmitted via computer remotely. Mimic Innovation Surgery has announced that 2 hospitals in the US have successfully performed operations using Hamini surgical robots. The system is used for procedures such as benign hysterectomy or even ovarian cyst removals. The surgical robot is equipped with a miniature humanoid arm and shoulder, elbow with radial joints, providing agility and precision of the smallest manipulations. The robot's able to inject several instruments into the body through a single portal, and it offers multi-dimensional flexibility with 360 degrees of articulation. And in Japan, the project to build the world's largest robot continues. The robot hands are completely finished and can now be controlled by anyone. To do this, you need to wear a special glove with motion capture. The robot repeats the gestures slowly with considerable delay, and this, of course, is due to its gigantic size. Remember that the height of Grandma is 25 meters, which is comparable to an 8-story house. They tested robots on the slopes of the volcano Etna of the European lunar mission. Scientists from the German Aerospace Center tested 2 scenarios of the future mission. In the former, the robots were autonomous and controlled from Earth, while in the latter, the robots were controlled from an orbital station by an operator. In addition, researchers simulated the installation of a low-frequency antenna on the back of the moon. The mission consists of 4 robots, 2 light rovers, an interactive rover, and a scout rover. Together and individually, they will be required to inspect the surface and collect samples, analyze their composition, and maintain the Wi-Fi network. Meanwhile, NASA is building submarine robots to study the oceans beneath the ice crust of Jupiter and Saturn's moons. The mission is planned in the 2030s and it will fly near the sky. NASA has already provided funding for a new project called Independence Microprobing, or SWIM. The lander will descend to the ice crust of one of the satellites and launch the probe, which will use the heat from its nuclear battery to melt a tunnel into the ice. Then they'll release about 50 floating robots, each of them having a wedge shape and a length of 12 centimeters, and it's equipped with its own propulsion system, onboard computer, ultrasonic communication, and a set of sensors for temperature, humidity, acidity, pressure, and other chemicals. The swarms of bots will have to try to detect signs of life in the most promising environment, and that's fluid. Rocket Lab successfully launched the Capstone mission probe to lunar orbit. There, they will test whether the orbit was stable enough to accommodate the future NASA Lunar Gateway. The spacecraft will, in practice, determine what energy and thrust are required to be in orbit predicted by NASA. Capstone also tested the reliability of the innovative ship-to-ship navigation system using the Interplanetary Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, which has been in orbit around the Moon since 2009. Mojo Vision has finally tested its contact lenses with augmented reality. The full-featured Mojo Lens smart lens prototype has an impressive array of hardware. The lens has the world's smallest display with the highest density, micro LED with a diameter of less than 0.5 millimeters and a resolution of 14,000 pixels per inch, capable of displaying dynamic content. The display is also equipped with an ARM Core M0 processor, a 5 GHz radio module that allows the exchange of ultra-low latency data, and a sufficient number of accelerometers, gyroscopes, and magnetometers to track user eye movement with maximum accuracy. The outer ring has a built-in medical-grade micro battery, which will be large enough to work all day in the final version of the product, as well as power plants and wireless charging systems. The startup VR Somnium, together with Tesla's suit in 2021, presented a unique VR suit which gives tactile feedback on the whole body. In a new review from Tech Radar, how this technology works is actually explained. The suit is equipped with 90 electrodes that touch different parts of the user's body. They send discharges from 1 mA to 60 mA to the muscle. Signals of different frequencies and intensities emitted by the electrodes simulate a series of feelings and sensations, so a man in a suit can feel a blow or a shot as well as raindrops falling from above and all over the body. The company has also managed to simulate the overloaded experience of the driver of a Formula One car. According to the review, the impressions are absolutely realistic. It's only a shame that the suit is priced sky high at $20,000, and that is not for mass sale. Researchers at the ETH Zurich have developed MyoShirt, a soft upper body exoskeleton which is essentially an extra set of muscles that increases your strength and stamina. Of course, the primary focus of development is on the medicine and helping people with reduced mobility. MyoShirt consists of a vest with cuffs for forearms. Inside the fabric are built-in sensors, and all the additional equipment is enclosed in the enclosed box. Sensors collect information for an algorithm that determines the intentional movements of the wearer and the amount of force required for the movements. When moving, the motor shortens the rope to the tissue, which runs parallel to the muscles of the wearer and acts as an additional tendon. Trials have shown that the exoskeleton increases strength and endurance of patients with various illnesses by between 30 to 60%. The Canadian company IngenText, which sells modules for unlocking the software-locked features of Tesla cars, was able to bypass the speed limits in the Model S Plaid and accelerate the car to 348 km per hour. Before the hack happened, the car was limited to 280 km per hour, although in the announcement of the S Plaid, Elon Musk claimed 320 km per hour. In any case, although technically the car can accelerate to record speeds, it's obvious that the company has put a software restriction on it, but that may be due to the capabilities of the braking system in the car. By the way, it recently became known that the Tesla adaptive suspension system now will adjust the height of the road clearance to overcome uneven areas of the road. To do this, the car will scan pits, potholes, and bumps, and the software decides whether to lift the suspension or not. Tesla also showed the concept of a trailer with solar panels and the Starlink terminal for communication with the outside world, which will allow replenishing of the power reserve for the electric vehicles in the field. It will be able to generate up to 2.7 kilowatts of electricity, if of course this is implemented. A few weeks ago, General Motors launched a fully robotic cruise taxi in San Francisco. Yesterday, more than 10 of these cars stopped in the middle of the central street from a system failure and blocked it for several hours. The reason so far is not yet known, and according to Redditors, they made the joke that they finally united the union. Engineer Ling Kang Zhang shared on his YouTube channel his achievements in the development of a two-legged robot. A 70-centimeter tall bot works with the ROS system and can balance and walk and cost only $200 US. Impossible Mining startup raised over $10 million to develop and market its underwater mining robot. The device will use a manipulator to collect battery materials from the deep seabed. Upon completion of the project, AUV Impossible Mining will go to an ocean depth of 6.5 kilometers where they will collect individual polymetallic nodules. The robot will be equipped with an image recognition technology so it's able to identify the megafauna present on the nodules and leave those with megafauna intact. This should ensure that the company has independent and safe access to critical metals for batteries. Look how waterproof and hardy the Unitree robots have become, namely the B1 model, a robot with IP68 moisture protection that can carry up to 80 kilograms of cargo, and the maximum load capacity reaches more than 100 kilograms. And hey, while you're here, subscribe to the Pro Robot channel, like this video, and don't miss any new episodes from the world of robotics and high tech.